Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Why Uber and DoorDash say they're fighting more pay for delivery drivers. Why would the companies that facilitate the deliveries not want drivers to make more money? Makes no sense. So this article is coming from USA Today. If this your first time being here, I'm your boy FDA Dash and Trader. We touch on the things that's going on in the gig economy that could affect your earnings. And when it comes to stock price, driver pay, we all about that. So we got this article from USA Today. With quarterly revenue topping 5 billion, DoorDash Uber push back on driver wage laws. Now, if you haven't been up to date with the current news in the gig economy as far as pay and drivers, there's been a lot of legislation in different markets in different cities and states where they have basically took it upon themselves to ensure that drivers are earning more money. And these companies, particularly DoorDash and Uber, they don't like that because that means they make less money if they have to pay you more money. DoorDash and Uber are pushing back against measures that set the minimum pay standards for delivery drivers. New York City and Seattle are the first two cities in the U.S. to pass minimum wage law for food and gig delivery drivers. If you in New York or Seattle, tap in below. Let me know what the experience has been like in your market since these recent changes. During the quarterly earnings call on Wednesday, Uber CEO warned that these minimum pay laws hurt the people that it's supposed to protect. Well, here's the thing. They sit up here and say that, but Uber CEO is doing nothing to protect his drivers' pay. Uber orders have been so bad lately this year in 2024 that I sometimes don't even want to turn the app on. These multi-billion-dollar companies have ramped up efforts to alter pay regulations for delivery drivers in Seattle. In March, DoorDash spent $130,000 on lobbying to repeal an app-based delivery worker minimum pay ordinance. So they will spend literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight paying you a fair wage instead of just doing the right thing and paying it. This is where we at. Now, the Seattle City Council is considering changing the wage standard law that went into effect in January. The law sets a minimum pay that companies like DoorDash, Grubhub, Instacart, and others must pay their drivers. It's simple as that. Food delivery companies are required to pay their drivers at least 44 cents per minute, 74 cents per mile, and a minimum of $5 per order. Uber Eats and DoorDash responded to the law, adding a $5 fee to every order placed. So they automatically off the top added $5 to cover that. And then they still saying it's not enough, and they not making enough with these changes. Drivers have to make basically scraps and pennies in order for these companies to make money. Absolutely ridiculous. Some businesses have already reported sharp declines in delivery orders, which I could imagine. Because if the customer paying more, the driver barely making any money now, of course there's going to be less orders going out. But that's not the driver's fault. I think these companies should have long time ago started doing the right thing and moving in a direction to figure out how to pay drivers adequately, and then we wouldn't be in this situation. Food delivery companies push back against the minimum wage law. So in response, they added that extra $5 fee requiring customers to show the additional cost. One restaurant owner in Seattle told $54 order for pickup at his restaurant costs $85 when ordered through DoorDash. And that's right, we talk about this a lot on the channel. And actually he said through Uber Eats, but we talk about this a lot here on the channel. If you order something, subtotal may cost you $50, you're gonna end up paying 75 to 80 bucks after fees before tip on these delivery services. They really can't afford them, and they really shouldn't be using them. Right now, these services are a luxury, and if you can afford that, we appreciate you and we appreciate your service. But too many of these customers have become accustomed to using these services even though they can't afford it or barely got enough money to scrape by. Yes, you're gonna have stuff that costs $54 ending up being 85 bucks before a tip. It's crazy out here. A spokesperson for DoorDash said that the city's new pay standards for delivery drivers were excessive and that the company added fees to offset labor costs. Well, here's the thing. They could have added them fees and gave it straight to the driver before any of this even happened. But now that the state and the city has implemented things and forced their hand, now they want to run and complain that, it's too excessive when they wasn't doing nothing. A little promotion here and there does nothing for a Dasher's earnings. They've been steadily decreasing the base pay, trying to turn a profit and make their stock profitable. But now they sitting up here complaining when the drivers that's facilitating these orders, carrying the backs of these companies, basically, they out here struggling. So now they don't like it. They complain. DoorDash reported a 2.5 billion revenue in their first quarter of the year and a net loss 25 million. According to the quarterly earnings report from Uber, it raked in 3.2 billion in the first quarter. What are the proposed changes to the minimum laws? The initial law passed in 2022 requires drivers to get paid $5 per order, 44 cents per minute, 74 cents per mile. The proposed changes will require apps to pay drivers 33 cents per minute, 35 cents per mile, while workers would be paid for time spent picking up and delivering food. So they're basically trying to find some kind of middle ground because they see the effects is less orders going out. It's probably less availability for drivers, but at the same time, they basically have forced the government hand when it comes to making them implement these type of protective safety regulations when it comes to helping out the drivers. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think it's really quite sad that we have got to this point where these companies have taken such advantage of the driver that the local and state governments have to hop in. It should never get to this point. It really should. You know, they should have figured this out a long time ago, and we wouldn't have to sit here and work on legislation and then amendments and all that. It's just too much. You know, pay the drivers what they're worth. This Stop encouraging customers not to tip. Stop catering to broke customers. Like, if your whole business model is tailored off catering to people who can't really afford your service, it's a problem right there. And that's pretty much where we at. With the new changes that we've been seeing on the platforms in regards to Dasher tier rewards and not too many more changes on the Uber and Grubhub side, but just on the food delivery based pay conversation in general, these things are important because we want to make sure we paying close attention to what happens on the legislative level in Seattle and New York, so that we can kind of predict what we can foresee happening in other areas around the country. Let me know, how's it been out there for you dashing with these regulations, and are you making money, or has it hindered your ability to hop on the platform? And look, as always, thank you for watching. I will catch you in the next one.